rescued a lioness with a large tumor in her abdomen, but the lion cub's condition is confusing. The grass moved with the slow rhythm of wind, whispering across the dry earth. A shape lay among it, still, golden and almost invisible until the light shifted. It was a lioness, her body stretched beside an old termite mound. She should have been sleeping in the heat, but there was something wrong in the way she lay. Too still, too quiet. Her sides lifted in shallow waves, her mouth parting slightly with every breath. From where the rangers stood on the dirt track, they could hear the faint rasp of air through her throat. Just beyond her flank, in the shade of brittle shrubs, a cub sat motionless. He was small, the kind of small that made the world look too big. One of the rangers lifted binoculars, murmured softly, "She's not moving right." They watched for long minutes. The cub tried once to nudge her with his nose, a tiny gesture of confusion. She flicked her tail, weakly and as if to reassure him. Around her belly, the fur was stretched tight and uneven. The shape beneath it didn't seem like muscle or food. It was round, distorted, and far too large. The men in the jeep exchanged quiet words on infection, abscess, tumor. Yet no one could be sure. In this wilderness, the difference between life and death often came in silence. When they finally approached, they did it slowly, careful not to startle the cub. The smell reached them first, not decay, but something sharp, heavy with heat and sickness. Flies clung to her fur. The lioness turned her head slightly, eyes glazed but alert enough to follow them. The medic crouched a few feet away, voice steady and soft. "Easy, Mama," he said. The tone meant more for calm than understanding. The lioness didn't growl. She only breathed harder, her ribs rising like waves against the strain of her body. The cub pressed closer to her face as though his small warmth could guard her from whatever she was fighting. Minutes stretched thin. The medic noted the swelling, the trembling skin, the faint tremor of pain each time she exhaled. There was movement beneath the bulge, faint, irregular. No one spoke after that. When the decision came, it was quiet. A tranquilizer dart, fired softly from a distance, found its mark with a whisper. The lioness's breathing slowed. Her head dropped gently to the side. The cub whimpered, a sound so thin it seemed to disappear into the wind. He circled her once, unsure, then pressed his face against her chest. The ranger waited for the rise and fall of her breathing before stepping closer. The medic placed a gloved hand against the swollen abdomen. For a moment, he only felt warmth, then something else. A faint, rhythmic flutter under his palm. He looked up. "It's not a tumor," he said quietly. "Something's moving." The other said nothing. The sun hung low, spilling red light over the savanna, and in that stillness the cub lifted his head, eyes wide, listening to a heartbeat that wasn't his mother's alone. Under the white canvas of the field tent, time seemed to slow. The lioness lay on a stretcher, her breathing deep and steady now under the medicine. Her fur shimmered faintly with sweat and dust. Around her, the low hum of medical instruments mixed with the sound of the wind pushing against the tent walls. The veterinarian's hands moved carefully, tracing the curve of her abdomen. What had seemed like a tumor was firm but alive, the shape shifting gently beneath the skin. A moment later, he felt it, a pulse, then another lighter one beneath it. He froze, eyes lifting toward the ranger beside him. "It's not a growth," he whispered. "It's something else. She's carrying." The men leaned closer, their faces tight with disbelief. They had all thought her too thin, too sick, too still to carry life. But the readings told a different story. 2 small heartbeats, only one of them strong. Outside, the cub waited in the shadow of a mopan tree. He called every few minutes, a short, uncertain sound that barely carried. When a ranger stepped out with a small bowl of water, the cub backed away, tail twitching low. But when the man crouched and left it on the ground, he crept forward, lapping quietly, eyes fixed on the tent. Inside, the vet worked against the weight of silence. Infection had spread around the womb. One cub, likely stillborn, had remained trapped, poisoning her body from within. The other had been born early, the small one outside, the only reason the mother had survived this long. Her body had not yet recovered, still fighting for both lives at once. "Give her fluids," the vet murmured. "She's been holding on longer than we thought." Hours passed in the dim heat. They cleaned the wound, treated the swelling, and prayed without words that nature would allow what medicine could not force. Each movement was careful, as though touching something sacred. When the sedation began to fade, the lioness stirred. Her paw twitched, her tail lifted once. The vet stepped back, letting her wake in her own time. The monitors quieted, replaced by the faint rustle of the grass outside. The rangers moved her gently onto a stretcher, carrying her back into the open air. The cub saw her first, a flick of golden fur between the trees, and bounded forward, stopping only when her eyes opened. She blinked once, slowly, as if returning from a faraway place. Her cub pressed his small body against her chest, and for the first time that day, she lifted her head and breathed deep. The vet smiled faintly, sweat streaking the dust on his face. "She's still fighting," he said. No one answered. They didn't need to. The sky had turned pale gold, and the first evening wind passed over them, carrying the scent of rain from the far hills. The lioness lay quietly now, her cub resting against her paw. Beneath her ribs, the rhythm of two heartbeats, one fading, one strong, echoed through the silence of the grasslands. Dawn came soft and gray, the air washed clean by a night of light rain. The lioness stirred beneath the acacia, her sides moving steady again. The swollen belly had eased. The fever had broken. Beside her, the cub waited, silent, watchful. He pressed close, touching her fur as if to be sure she was real. From a distance, the rangers watched. She looked thin, but her eyes were clear now, calm. The vet lowered his binoculars and smiled quietly. "She'll live," he said. The cub moved toward her belly, pawing softly, confused by the emptiness there. He pressed his ear to her side, listening for something that no longer moved. The lioness gave a low trembling sound, then drew him near with her paw. For a moment they stayed that way, still and wordless, bound by something deeper than understanding. As the sun rose, she pushed herself up, legs shaking but sure. The cub followed. Together they turned toward the open plain, the wind carrying the scent of morning. The rangers didn't follow. They only watched as the two golden shapes faded into the grass, one healed, one learning, both surviving. In the silence they left behind, the savanna whispered its oldest truth. Even through loss, life continues to move forward.